You will often hear commentators on the left present a straw man idea of what it's like to be a white guy in America. They'll say things like, must be nice to be a white guy and never face any challenges in life, or must be nice to be white and not have to worry about getting shot by police. Let me tell you, whenever my car is stopped, my driver's license and CPL are in hand, and those hands are at 10 and 2. Do that, and traffic stops tend to go pretty well. Resist, fight back, claim you didn't do nothing wrong, or that you're a sovereign citizen and know your rights, and wow, is anybody surprised you're ending up with a face full of asphalt? I'm reminded of that must be nice line of thinking when reading the two stories we're talking about today. The first, as reported by hotair.com, quote, Portland Antifa group flooded the office of lawyer representing ISIS union, and the second, quote, alleged Antifa plot for armed conflict at the border uncovered by FBI. Yet while conservative sites like Fox News, Breitbart, and the Epoch Times, among others, picked up on these stories, the Washington Post, the esteemed and legitimate publication, didn't pick up on either one. These stories have gone totally buried by the mainstream media. Today's video is going to demonstrate that our federal government treats Antifa activists with kid gloves and allows them to operate violently with impunity. Their activists regularly engage in criminal conspiracy and, since at least 2017, have openly engaged in terrorism by their own admission with zero pushback or consequences from the federal government and from federal law enforcement. We'll contrast how Antifa's explicitly terroristic actions have been treated by the FBI with how that same federal bureau treats activists, and even non-activist regular people, on the political right. While breaking windows and assaulting people with deadly weapons won't catch you a charge if you're on the left, if you're on the right, you could be looking at 20 years for simply putting athletic tape on your knuckles and defending yourself when attacked. The clownish bias of the FBI is ahead, but first, they can't keep you safe from being watched by government spy agencies. Actually, wait. They can. Protect yourself with Virtual Shield. Why are countries banning the use of VPNs? Russia is the latest country to ban VPNs, joining Belarus, China, Egypt, North Korea, Turkey, and more. Why are they doing this? Well, it's simple. VPNs are not only effective, but extremely useful for well-informed citizens, and that's why entire countries are working to ban them. Given the state of free speech in our country, I wouldn't be surprised if the US is next. Will the USA try to ban the use of VPNs for its citizens for the sake of your privacy? I hope not. I personally recommend Virtual Shield VPN. They are by far the easiest and fastest VPN around. I use it on my own computers, both my laptop and desktop. With their no-log policy, they protect their users' anonymity from any potential data breaches. This month, Virtual Shield is offering a special 35% off all plans and all premium add-ons, including Protection Plus, IdentiSafe, and more. Plans start as low as $324 per month. Sign up for a free 30-day trial to Virtual Shield's VPN and see what the hype is about. You have nothing to lose. virtualshield.com/allsup. Check them out today. virtualshield.com/allsup. I believe I first saw this story about Portland Antifa posted by Paul Joseph Watson. Now, PJW is banned from Facebook, so I guess I won't be seeing any similar stories anytime soon. And there are still people out there who think anything other than free speech regulation of social media companies will work to solve this problem. It won't. Regardless, here is what happened from hotair.com, quote, Portland Antifa group flooded the office of lawyer representing ISIS union. The article is posted along with a very charming picture that accurately summarizes the current state of this country. Quote, an Antifa group in Portland decided to punish a lawyer representing the Union for Immigration and Custom Enforcement agents by flooding his office. Oregon Live reports Sean Riddell's law office suffered thousands of dollars in damage from the act of vandalism. The article continues, quote, as you can see, most of the wood flooring on the first floor and the carpeting in the basement have to be torn up and replaced. The drywall in the basement has been pulled down and the paint was ruined along the walls. Riddell believes the damage will amount to several $1,000s, but expects his insurance will cover it. With that level of water damage on real hardwood floor, you're looking at more than just a couple thousand in damages. They're going to have to replace flooring, subfloor, drywall, paint, carpet, and possibly even insulation and structure as well, depending how bad the water damage is. This isn't just a mild annoyance, like egging a house or spray painting a wall. It's a lot worse. As far as why this happened, it wasn't just some neighborhood epic prank gone wrong. Reading from hotair.com, quote, as for who did it, that was unclear until Willamette Week ran a story about the vandalism Monday. Then, the site received an email from a local Antifa group taking responsibility. Willamette Week forwarded the email to Riddell, who has since called the police to alert them. He says his office had security cameras, as do other businesses in the area, so the people who did this may have been recorded in the act. Reporter Andy Ngo, who covers Antifa in the Portland areas, notes that the letter claiming responsibility was published by It's Going Down, an anarchist news site. It reads in part, Quoting now from the statement, Sean Riddell currently provides legal representation to the National ICE Council, the union which represents ICE agents, in a lawsuit against the city of Portland in response to the Occupy ICE PDX encampment last summer. Sean's new law office, located in Portland, was purchased partially with the money he's made from the work he's done for the National ICE Council. We decided to congratulate him on his new building by unraveling its garden hose, pushing it through his mail slot, and turning on the water. Our goal was to cause maximum economic damage that should serve as a warning to all individuals and businesses that profit off the human misery perpetrated by ICE. For a world without borders and prisons, for the free movement of all people. Smash ICE, the statement reads. It's Going Down is a central hub for Antifa news and writings. It's a good site to read to stay updated on what kinds of violence and property destruction Antifa is up to. But of course, read it behind a proxy or a VPN. And unlike some groups like the Islamic State, Antifa doesn't typically claim responsibility for things they didn't actually do. So, if they're claiming credit for this, I believe them. Speaking of other terror groups, let's refresh on the definition of terrorism. Quote, the unlawful use of violence and intimidation, especially against civilians in the pursuit of political aims. Or, as Antifa would put it, doing maximum economic damage to issue a warning to all individuals and businesses that do business with ICE. Here we have an organization admitting, in their own words, that they are engaging in terrorism against civilian attorneys. Shoe on the other foot, and I know this is old hat by now, but imagine if it was the Proud Boys destroying offices for La Raza attorneys, or Patriot Front breaking windows of NARAL attorneys. Would there be a slightly different reaction? Now, some people will surely say, well, there were security cameras, so police are going to come and round these guys up and throw them in jail, because in America, we have law of order. Well, maybe, if this weren't Portland, and if this weren't the current United States. Remember, Portland is the same city where police stand down and allow Antifa to claim street corners for themselves, and direct drivers of color on through, but force white drivers to go around the block, to atone for their privilege, or something.
It's just go that way. Because I told you to.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Don't hurt me.
Yeah, brother.
Just go,
yeah, you little
please.
white little
Go.
fucker.
Really?
Yeah. You're a fucking little whitey, aren't you?
Portland police also refused to respond when citizens, not even ICE agents, just regular taxpayers, just regular people, were calling the police about destruction and violence going on at the Occupy ICE camp in Portland last summer. Do you really expect Portland PD will do anything to solve this case? Considering that this is an act of terrorism, it shouldn't be up to the local police anyways. The FBI has jurisdiction, after all, over terrorism cases. Which brings us to our next story, and the title of this video. From the Washington Examiner, quote, FBI investigating alleged Antifa scheme to stage an armed rebellion at the border. The FBI is examining an alleged plot where anti-fascist activists, quote, planned to disrupt U.S. law enforcement and military security operations at the U.S.-Mexican border. The activists were accused of seeking to purchase guns from a Mexico-based cartel associate known as Cobra Commander, according to an FBI December document obtained by the San Diego Union Tribune. The FBI cautioned multiple agencies that the activists were aiming to stage an armed rebellion at the border, end quote. Because this investigation is ongoing, the full report is not yet public. I'll admit, this story doesn't make a whole lot of sense at first glance, and although the circumstances are not yet clear, it wouldn't be the first time Antifa have used weapons for intimidation. You'll remember a few months back when Antifa marched through Stone Mountain, Georgia, wielding firearms and burning effigies of their political opponents, in a clear act of political intimidation, with violent undertones. In the title of the video, I mentioned that the FBI is doing nothing, but that isn't entirely true. The FBI is engaged in prosecution of political dissidents on the right. While Antifa flood buildings, attack Trump supporters, and engage in economic terrorism against property owners, the FBI is focusing their attention on a group called Rise Above Movement. Rise Above Movement, or RAM, was a group of guys from Southern California that gathered together to train in martial arts and work out. They require their members to train consistently, stay in shape, and live drug-free, moral lives. Their group went to outings, like this Trump rally in Huntington Beach, where they protected Trump supporters when they were attacked by violent Antifa. Or, as the Washington Post says, quote, the complaint unsealed Tuesday said the Rise Above movement promotes clean living, physical fitness, and mixed martial arts street fighting techniques. It said the group regularly meets in public parks in the Southern California area and trains in physical fitness, boxing, and other fighting techniques. Yeah, a group of young men gathering together, forming brotherhood and camaraderie, and staying in shape, living clean lives. That's a problem. That's really bad news. They shouldn't be improving themselves. They should be watching Marvel sequels and stuffing their faces with carbohydrate-laden foods. That is a much healthier lifestyle. Well, Ram also went to Charlottesville, and while there, they were again attacked by Antifa. It's almost like that's sort of what Antifa does. In the fight that ensued, they defended themselves, and no one on either side was seriously injured. Here's where the story heats up. Over a year after Charlottesville, in August 2018, 4 members of RAM were charged and arrested. These weren't desk ticket, small misdemeanor-style charges. These were federal charges. Benjamin Daly, Thomas Gillen, Michael Mazelis, and Cole White were all charged with violating the federal riot statute and with conspiring to violate it. There's no evidence that any of these guys incited a riot. Charlottesville, regardless of how you feel about it, was a legally permitted rally, protected by the right to free speech, not a riot. The FBI's evidence that they conspired to riot was the fact that they had their hands taped with athletic tape. In other words, if you're going to an event you know Antifa is going to violently protest and you prepare to defend yourself, you are the criminal. RAM are only guilty of defending themselves against violent attacks, and now they're facing up to 10 years each in prison, 5 for rioting and 5 for conspiring to riot. These young men's lives are being destroyed by the system, not only because they defended themselves against Antifa, they're being punished because of their political views. Gone are the days of the FBI being a well-respected, elite law enforcement agency. They're now an explicitly leftist political organization that acts on directives from far-left media outlets. Where's my evidence for that? Well, Antifa have been arrested and charged with rioting in the past. The cases against them, by the way, have been much stronger than the cases against RAM. In January 2017, Antifa descended on Washington, D.C. to protest, riot, destroy, and assault. Cars were torched, windows smashed, and people, including me, beaten and attacked. RAM wrapped their fists and punched back after getting punched. Antifa, on the contrary, were out in force, armed with weapons, attacking defenseless people. I'll always remember them screaming, "Bleed, Nazi, bleed," after hitting me in the head, from behind, with a flagpole. Our lovely friends in the FBI decided that those cases weren't worth it. Anyone who didn't confess and take a plea deal had their charges dropped. 230 people were arrested for violating the federal rioting statute, and 212 of those committed additional crimes like assault, vandalism, and destruction of property. 21 of those charged pled guilty. The remainder, however, they went home free. The FBI and DOJ let violent Antifa walk in 2017, and they're going to do the same now in Portland. Some conservatives are celebrating comments by FBI Director Christopher Wray that indicate the Bureau will be investigating and looking into Antifa. I'll believe it when I see it, but the results thus far don't lie. There's no indication the FBI will be seriously investigating the terrorism in Portland. They dropped rioting charges against every DC Antifa they could. In the meantime, 6 young men from RAM are still awaiting trial, faced with having their lives even further destroyed because of their political views, and nothing more. It's important for you out there, regular viewer and internet browser, to understand this phenomenon. Over the past month, I've heard about a half dozen stories about people that posted their opinions online getting visits from FBI agents because of the things they've said online. These people haven't broken any laws or committed any crimes, of course not, but the FBI is coming to them pretending to be their friend. Agents say things like, "Oh, we agree with most of what you say," or "You're really funny and smart," to try to build rapport. They'll even claim sometimes that they need your help in investigating Antifa members. You have to understand that the FBI has only served to protect and defend Antifa. They haven't prosecuted them at all under the Trump administration. If you're approached by agents claiming otherwise, you'll have to make your own decisions, of course. But think to yourself, does this feel legit, or am I being manipulated? Many people have been manipulated by federal agents into doing things they wouldn't otherwise do. And I want all of you to stay safe. Thanks for watching today's video. Make sure you check out that deal for my friends over at Virtual Shield, and I will see all of you, hopefully, next time.